Well, this is the course that I think we're going to have to take if we want to be authentic. So let's show some authenticity in Hollywood. And with everything that's going on right now, I think now's a good time to highlight it.
Whoa!
And I am 100% aware that this topic is, first of all, not for kids. Nothing on this channel is for kids, but it is for people with open minds and people who aren't just pigeonholed into one little thing or another, because we do have to talk about race. I will show you the article about what we're talking about. What we're talking about is people shying away from playing their characters. Authenticity in Hollywood. That comes with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jamie Foxx and Samuel L. Jackson recalling their time filming Django Unchained. So, in a recent interview, Jamie Foxx has said that Leo stopped reading the entire script altogether due to the racial slurs. Then Samuel L. Jackson says, "Say that, mother." Oh, in true Samuel L. Jackson fashion. Yeah, there's obviously with the cultural zeitgeist, with everything that is attached to that word. Now we could go into arguments about what it actually means, all kinds of stuff. We could go into that, but we're not going to. That word hurts a lot of people. It also means nothing to a lot of people. There are things on both sides, but what Quentin has always tried to do, he's tried to capture the environment and the kind of just normal speak for whatever he sets his movies in. So Jamie actually recently joined Vanity Fair for a video interview in which he looked back at a handful of his most iconic acting roles, and this is where Tarantino's Django Unchained comes up. One of the Oscar winner's most notable memories of this film is when Leo cut short a reading of the script due to Tarantino's repeated use of the N word. Now, if we want to go back into history a little bit, there was a time where Jamie Foxx was talking to Joe Rogan and saying that Robert Downey Jr. couldn't do the blackface. You couldn't get away with that anymore. Even though it was funny, you couldn't get away with that anymore. So Jamie just goes on. He gives a little bit more context. The subject matter, the N word specifically, Leo had a hard time saying it. We're doing a read, and Leo will just cut the entire thing. And to which Samuel L. Jackson apparently goes, I don't know if I'm long enough into this video yet to say this without bleeping myself out, but say that shit, motherfucker. It's just another Tuesday. Fuck 'em. Fox continued to go on to say that I told Leo in slavery days we wouldn't even talk to each other. Yes, the the plantation owners versus the slaves. This is just a cold hard fact of history, and that's what Tarantino was trying. And in all honesty, with most of Tarantino's films, he is trying to like poke at your thoughts. He's trying to like nudge you in the ribs, like, oh, you thought this was off limits? Like, no, this is real life. It's way more akin to real life and the way that people actually speak. You don't say it in front of a camera. You definitely don't do that. But when you're with your homies or when you're in the inner city or way back in the day, this is how people talk. So it needs to be as authentic as possible whenever you're writing a crazy story that's set in this period time. And Fox also went on to say that I told him you won't really be able to play that character until you understand what slavery is about. It was tough. It was horrifying. It was horrific. So the next day, Leo, I guess, took that to heart, according to Jamie Foxx, and he says, what's up to him? Out of character. He doesn't speak to me. He's ready. Everybody starts digging in. And that's when you get that absolute gold that is on the screen in Django Unchained. So far to the fact that during that famous scene, Leo slams down a glass on the table and the glass shatters. They were not expecting that. And Leo is just bleeding all over the place. That is real blood that you're seeing on screen there. He doesn't break character. He goes into character and does the scene. A consummate professional, but he just had to get over it first. Authenticity to the storyline, to the plot, to whatever you're trying to convey is what makes a good actor a great actor. It's what makes a passable movie into a timeless movie. And that's what we got with this. But you're always going to have help along the way because we are just human beings pretending to put on these characters. Now, Samuel L. Jackson has long been a supporter of Quentin Tarantino, especially his use of the N word, which obviously I will not say. But he has said that Quentin Tarantino personally, them two together, went up to Dicaprio and said that you have to say the N word in Jekyll Unchained an ungodly amount of times, even if it made him uncomfortable, because that's part of the character. And every time someone wants an example of overuse of the N word, they go to Quentin. It's unfair. This is Samuel L. Jackson lamenting that Quentin uses it too much. Well, Quentin's been in the streets for most of the time. But anyway, I digress. He's just telling the story, and the characters do talk like that. Finally, a base take, because this has been a controversy for forever with anything that comes up with this. And when Steve McQueen does it, it's art. He's an artiste. And there are so many movies where not only the use of that word is prolific, but it all makes sense. It's not about getting away with it. It's about being true to your story and your art. But whenever Steve McQueen does it, it's art. He's an artiste. Quentin's just a popcorn filmmaker. Therein lies the whole thing. I was like, okay, when it's what you consider high art, that's when it's permissible. When it's just popcorn stuff and like crazy spaghetti western kind of stuff, okay, now all of a sudden it's no longer high art. Well, who are the people who actually deem that? We could go into a whole lot more on that, but yeah, I'm not going to go into that right now because that will be like a 4-hour video. And we still wouldn't agree at the end of it. I guarantee with a whole lot of people. Now, Jackson has long defended Tarantino's views, like I said earlier, but just another thing from what is that? The Hateful Eight? Yeah, the first eight. There's no dishonesty in anything that he writes or how people talk, feel, or speak in his movies, because that is how we talk behind the scenes. Just because you don't see it on camera, just because you don't say it in public where you could get fired or some people might judge you, whenever you're actually comfortable with things, a lot of people do talk like that. Like it or not, that's just a fact of life. A lot of people do talk like that. And just bringing it back around from all the controversy that's been there, we're going back to the Jamie Foxx interview. Fox has always said he never had an issue with Tarantino's script. Once telling Yahoo Entertainment in an interview, I understood the text. The N word was said 100 times, but I understood the text. That's the way it was back in that time. Thank you. And this is kind of what I would want as someone who actually appreciates and enjoys film. When you're doing a period piece and whenever the language is appropriate to the time, whenever the speech, whenever the dialogue, all of that kind of stuff is appropriate to the time, that's kind of what I want to hear. That's what I want to see. A lot of people were turned off from the Vavitch, which is one of Robert Eggers' like first ones that came out with Anya Taylor-Joy. But the fact that the dialogue was specific to the time period that the story was being told in, it turned a lot of people off, because a lot of people aren't actually looking for that art in the film. They are just looking for popcorn. But those kind of movies, a lot of the times, don't stand the test of time. That if they are popcorn flicks, except for a mild few that turn the dial on the zeitgeist of pop culture, those aren't the ones that last forever. It's the ones that are true to what the story that they're trying to tell. Those are the ones that you keep bringing up, and they end up getting into anthologies and all kinds of stuff. It's like, you need to watch this. This is an example of great filmmaking. Now, all of this comes down to one little thing. Like, do you want your art to be censored? For me, no. Obviously, you wouldn't use that word in normal conversation unless insert demographic here, insert situation there. There are things across all cultures where certain words, certain things, sometimes it's derogatory, sometimes it's familial. That's just how it goes with our very diverse world. And shying away from it, I don't think is the right thing, especially when you're trying to do a period piece. Whenever you're trying to capture a certain historic period in time that everyone knows about. It's not like anybody's trying to hide that or brush it under the rug. Everyone knows about this time era and what was going on in that time. You might as well be as true to it as possible. I mean, just think about Roots, and when that showed up, everyone was excited for it, and they're just like, "Wow, that was brutal." But it made people understand what was going on in the time because a lot of us are coddled. A lot of y'all are coddled. I can even speak for myself. I'm almost 40 years old. I've been coddled from what past generations have had to go through. But how do we grow? How do we understand their struggle if we don't look back at it with honest eyes and let that be portrayed in our media? I'm anti censorship on all this kind of stuff. And I think it should be true. If you have any other feelings, feel free to leave it down below in the comments section. This is Multi from the GCA. I know this is a very difficult topic. I know that. I decided to bring it to you anyway because I think it's good that we're seeing all different sides. There's the people who want the art to succeed and thrive and be as true as possible, and there's people who are a little reticent, but they can be shown that hey, this is okay because it is all fake. Multi from the GCA, y'all have a great day or evening or weekend or wherever you are. Take care of each other, and we'll see you later. By the way, this is the short bus for the GCA Discord. Feel free to join it. Bye.